The race session is at Zandvoort. Robert Wallier is P1 on mediums. Rene Robertson is P2 with 40 kg ballast on mediums. Sam Markham is P3 with 60 kg ballast on mediums. Brian Patterson is P4 with 20 kg ballast on mediums. John Astrup is P5 on mediums. Martijn Mol is P6 on mediums. Glenn Field from United Kingdom is P7 on mediums. David Kelsall is P8 on mediums. Kian Chen from Hong Kong is P9 on mediums. Ian Weeks is P10 on mediums. Nick Carney is P11 on mediums. Richard Ogden is P13 on mediums. Bruce Hardwick is P14 on mediums. Juan Ramos from United States is P15 on mediums. 45 minutes remaining in the session. Preston Cupido from South Africa is P16 on mediums. Race start. Sam Markham is P3 with 60 kg ballast. David Kelsall is P8. Glenn Field is P6. Bruce Hardwick is P15. Glenn Field is P6. Bruce Hardwick is P11. Brian Patterson is P4 with 20 kg ballast battling John Astrup. Richard Ogden entering the pits is P14. Richard Ogden is P14. Preston Cupido entering the pits is P15. Kian Chen entering the pits is P16. Glenn Field is P6 0.3 seconds ahead of Martijn Mol. Sam Markham is P3 with 60 kg ballast 0.3 seconds ahead of John Astrup. Glenn Field is P6 0.2 seconds ahead of Martijn Mol. San Marcom is P3 with 60 kg ballast, 0.4 seconds behind Rene Robertson. Glenfield is P6, 0.3 seconds ahead of Martin Moore. Brian Patterson is P5 with 20 kg ballast, 0.2 seconds behind John Astrup. David Kelsall is P16, 0.4 seconds behind Preston Cupido. David Forsyth is P12 on softs, 1.3 seconds ahead of Juan Ramos. San Marcom is P3 with 60 kg ballast, 0.3 seconds ahead of John Astrup. Glenfield is P6, 0.5 seconds ahead of Martin Moore. 40 minutes remaining in the session. San Marcom is P3 with 60 kg ballast, 0.3 seconds ahead of John Astrup. Preston Cupido is P16, 1.1 seconds behind David Kelsall. Preston Cupido entering the pits after 2 laps on mediums is P16. San Marcom is P3 with 60 kg ballast, 0.2 seconds ahead of John Astrup. Nick Carney is P10, 0.7 seconds behind Mark Scott. Glenfield is P6, 0.4 seconds ahead of Martin Moore. David Forsyth is P13, 1.0 seconds behind Mark Scott. Glenfield is P6, 0.5 seconds ahead of Martin Moore. San Marcom is P3 with 60 kg ballast, 0.4 seconds ahead of John Astrup. Glenfield is P6, 0.4 seconds ahead of Martin Moore. San Marcom is P3 with 60 kg ballast, 0.4 seconds ahead of John Astrup. Mark Scott entering the pits after 4 laps on mediums is P14. Glenfield is P6, 0.3 seconds ahead of Martin Moore. San Marcom is P3 with 60 kg ballast, 0.3 seconds ahead of John Astrup. Robert Wallier is P1. Rene Robertson is P1 with 40 kg ballast battling John Assetto. San Marcom is P1 with 60 kg ballast 0.3 seconds ahead of John Assetto. Richard Ogden is P12. San Marcom is P1 with 60 kg ballast 0.4 seconds ahead of John Assetto. Preston Cupido is P17. Robert Wallier is P3 0.3 seconds behind John Assetto. Bruce Hardwick is P10. Glenfield is P6 0.2 seconds ahead of Martijan Moore. "35 minutes remaining in the session. Rene Robertson is P4 with 40 kg ballast 0.2 seconds ahead of Brian Patterson. San Marcom is P1 with 60 kg ballast 0.3 seconds ahead of John Assetto. Robert Wallier is P2 0.1 seconds ahead of John Assetto. Bruce Hardwick is P11 0.3 seconds behind Richard Ogden. Rene Robertson is P2 with 40 kg ballast 0.6 seconds ahead of Martijan Moore. Glenfield is P5 0.4 seconds behind Brian Patterson. Bruce Hardwick is P12 4.0 seconds behind Richard Ogden. Preston Cupido entering the pits after 2 laps on mediums is P17. Preston Cupido is P17. Martijan Moore is P3 0.4 seconds behind Rene Robertson. Robert Wallier entering the pits after 7 laps on mediums is P6. Richard Ogden is P11 0.4 seconds behind Juan Ramos. Rene Robertson is P2 with 40 kg ballast 0.5 seconds ahead of Martijan Moore. Robert Wallier is P13. Martijan Moore is P3 0.4 seconds behind Rene Robertson. David Forsyth is P14. Rene Robertson is P2 with 40 kg ballast, 0.2 seconds ahead of Martin Moore. Bruce Hardwick is P12. Rene Robertson is P3 with 40 kg ballast, 0.4 seconds behind Martin Moore. Preston Cupido is P17. Robert Wallier is P14, 0.2 seconds behind David Forsyth. Glenfield is P5, 0.4 seconds behind Brian Patterson. Rene Robertson is P3 with 40 kg ballast, 0.6 seconds behind Martin Moore. 30 minutes remaining in the session. Glenfield is P5, 0.5 seconds behind Brian Patterson. David Forsyth is P15, 3.4 seconds ahead of Mark Scott. David Forsyth entering the pits after 8 laps on softs is P15. Martin Moore is P2, 0.7 seconds ahead of Rene Robertson. David Kelsall is P11, 0.4 seconds behind Juan Ramos. Robert Wallier is P13, 0.1 seconds behind Kian Chen. Glenfield is P5, 0.3 seconds behind Brian Patterson. San Marcom is P1 with 60 kg ballast, 1.2 seconds ahead of Martin Moore. David Kelsall is P11, 0.3 seconds behind Juan Ramos. San Marcom is P1 with 60 kg ballast, 0.4 seconds ahead of Martin Moore. David Kelsall is P10 0.1 seconds ahead of Juan Ramos. Robert Wallier is P13 battling Kian Chen. San Marcom is P2 with 60 kg ballast 0.3 seconds behind Martijn Mol. Juan Ramos is P11. Juan Ramos entering the pits after 11 laps on mediums is P11. 25 minutes remaining in the session. Martijn Mol is P2 0.7 seconds behind San Marco. San Marcom is P1 with 60 kg ballast 0.4 seconds ahead of Martijn Mol. Richard Ogden is P9. Richard Ogden entering the pits after 11 laps on mediums is P9. Martijn Mol is P2 0.6 seconds behind San Marco. Juan Ramos is P16. David Kelsall is P9. San Marcom is P2 with 60 kg ballast 0.3 seconds behind Martijn Mol. Bruce Hardwick is P13 3.9 seconds ahead of Mark Scott. Ian Weeks is P7. Ian Weeks entering the pits after 13 laps on mediums is P7. Nick Carney entering the pits after 13 laps on mediums is P8. Nick Carney is P8. Martijn Mol is P1 0.7 seconds ahead of San Marco. Richard Ogden is P12. Bruce Hardwick is P13 4.6 seconds ahead of Mark Scott. Sam Markham is P2 with 60 kg ballast 3.6 seconds behind Martijan Moll. Sam Markham entering the pits after 14 laps on mediums is P2. Martijan Moll is P1 4.9 seconds ahead of Rene Robertson. Juan Ramos is P16. Juan Ramos entering the pits is P16. Glenfield entering the pits after 14 laps on mediums is P6. Bruce Hardwick is P13 3.5 seconds ahead of Mark Scott. David Kelsall is P7. Glenfield is P6. Richard Ogden is P12. 20 minutes remaining in the session. Rene Robertson is P2 with 40 kg ballast 1.8 seconds ahead of Brian Patterson. Guian Chen is P11. Guian Chen entering the pits after 13 laps on mediums is P11. Martijan Moll entering the pits after 15 laps on mediums is P1. Brian Patterson is P3 with 20 kg ballast 3.8 seconds behind Rene Robertson. Brian Patterson entering the pits after 15 laps on mediums is P3. John Astrup is P4. John Astrup entering the pits after 15 laps on mediums is P4. Martijan Moll is P4. Guian Chen is P13 2.3 seconds ahead of Bruce Hardwick. Bruce Hardwick is P14 2.4 seconds behind Guian Chen. Guian Chen is P13 3.5 seconds ahead of Bruce Hardwick. David Kelsall is P7 1.7 seconds ahead of Robert Wallier. Brian Patterson is P4 with 20 kg ballast. David Kelsall is P7 0.5 seconds ahead of Robert Wallier. Mark Scott entering the pits after 11 laps on mediums is P12. Bruce Hardwick is P14. Bruce Hardwick entering the pits after 15 laps on mediums is P14. Nick Carney is P9 3.3 seconds ahead of Ian Weeks. Ian Weeks is P10 on softs 3.4 seconds behind Nick Carney. Bruce Hardwick is P14 on softs 0.2 seconds ahead of David Forsyth. San Marcom is P3 with 60 kg ballast, 4.0 seconds behind Martigan. Bruce Hardwick is P14, 1.1 seconds ahead of David Forsyth. David Kelsall is P8, 5.0 seconds behind Robert Wallier. Bruce Hardwick is P14, 0.8 seconds ahead of David Forsyth. Nick Carney is P9, 3.3 seconds ahead of Ian Weeks. "15 minutes remaining in the session. Preston Cupido is P16. David Kelsall is P8, 3.1 seconds ahead of Nick Carney. Preston Cupido is P16. Bruce Hardwick is P15. Ian Weeks is P10. Nick Carney is P9, 3.8 seconds behind David Kelsall. Preston Cupido is P16. Ian Weeks is P10. Preston Cupido is P16. David Forsyth is P14 on mediums, 2.4 seconds ahead of Bruce Hardwick. Nick Carney is P9, 2.5 seconds behind David Kelsall. Bruce Hardwick is P15. Nick Carney is P9, 2.2 seconds behind David Kelsall. Ian Weeks is P10. Preston Cupido is P16. Bruce Hardwick is P15. Bruce Hardwick entering the pits after 3 laps on mediums is P15. Martin Moll is P2. Nick Carney is P9, 1.4 seconds behind David Kelsall. David Forsyth is P14. Nick Carney is P9, 0.5 seconds behind David Kelsall. Ten minutes remaining in the session. Rene Robertson is P1 with 40 kilograms ballast. Richard Ogden is P11. Rene Robertson is P1 with 40 kilograms ballast. David Forsyth is P14. Robert Wallier entering the pits after 14 laps on mediums is P7. Nick Carney is P9. Robert Wallier is P7. Nick Carney is P8, 4.7 seconds ahead of Ian Weeks. Richard Ogden is P10. Glenfield is P6, 1.2 seconds behind John Astro. Richard Ogden is P10. David Kelsall is P7. Ian Weeks is P9. Richard Ogden is P10. Five minutes remaining in the session. Glenfield is P6, 1.0 seconds behind John Astrup. Preston Cupido is P15. Nick Carney is P8. John Astrup is P5, 1.1 seconds ahead of Glenfield. Ian Weeks is P9. Ian Weeks entering the pits after 10 laps on softs is P9. San Markham is P3 with 60 kilograms ballast. Robert Wallier is P12. Glenfield is P6, 1.1 seconds behind John Astrup. Preston Cupido is P15. Glenfield is P6, 1.1 seconds behind John Astrup. Preston Cupido entering the pits after 16 laps on mediums is P15. David Kelsall is P7. David Forsyth is P14. Rene Robertson is P1 with 40 kilograms ballast, 0.8 seconds ahead of Martin Moll. Glenfield is P6 0.7 seconds behind John Astrup. Rene Robertson entering the pits after 26 laps on mediums is P2. Rene Robertson is P2 with 40 kg ballast 4.9 seconds behind Martijn Mol. Martijn Mol is P1. David Kelsall is P8 0.4 seconds behind Nick Carney. Rene Robertson is P4 with 40 kg ballast on softs 0.1 seconds behind John Astrup. San Markham is P2 with 60 kg ballast. Robert Wallier entering the pits after 6 laps on mediums is P11. Robert Wallier is P11. Martijn Mol is P1. Glenfield is P6 0.6 seconds behind John Astrup. Richard Ogden is P9. Rene Robertson is P4 with 40 kg ballast 1.5 seconds ahead of John Astrup. David Kelsall entering the pits after 26 laps on mediums is P8. Richard Ogden is P9. Ian Weeks is P12. Glenfield is P6 0.6 seconds behind John Astrup. The leader has just finished the race. Martijn Mol is P1. Nick Carney is P7. San Markham is P2. Preston Cupido is P15. Brian Patterson is P3. Richard Ogden is P9. Rene Robertson is P4. Richard Ogden is P9. John Astrup is P5. Glenfield is P6. Kian Chen is P10. Mark Scott from Norway is P13. Martijn Mol is P1. David Kelsall is P8. John Astrup is P5. Martijn Mol is P1. David Forsyth is P14. Ian Weeks is P12. Ian Weeks is P12.